If you are someone who has your natal north node in the sign of Leo in your astrological birth chart, but you feel like you don't quite know how to work towards this growth path, then watch this video where I'm going to share 5 potential ways for someone to start embracing their north node in Leo in your practical day-to-day life. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Isabelle, your spiritual rebel friend, and today we are talking about 5 potential ways to embrace your north node in Leo so that you can embody your soul's highest purpose and manifest with ease. In today's video specifically, I'm going to cover the core themes of having a north node in Leo as a brief overview, the importance of the house your Leo north node is in and why it comes into context, so to say, with this conversation. 5 potential ways for you to start embracing your Leo North Node, and a few brief journal prompts to work towards your path to purpose as a North Node in Leo. So this whole video is meant to be about practical application, but in the end, the North Node is something we are contemplating. It's not just an action journey, it's something we're internally understanding. And so I'm going to be providing some journal prompts, so to say, contemplations at the end of this video to really help you align with your path to purpose as a North Node in Leo. Because while there are potential things you can do to embrace your North Node in Leo, in the end, this expression of Leo energy, your North Node in Leo, is going to be different for every single person because you have a unique astrological birth chart and a unique story, and you are meant to embrace your North Node in Leo in a unique way. So before I dive in and before we get any further, be sure to book a reading in the link in the description below, where in 1 hour we can dive deep into any and everything about your astrological birth chart, including how you can practically start to apply and embody your North Node in Leo or other parts of your chart. Sky is the limit with these readings, as I always say, so learn more information down below on what kind of readings or things we can discuss in a reading, and drop a comment down below if you have any questions. So first and foremost, I want to recap the core root themes of a North Node in Leo to the best of my understanding. And granted, this is not going to be a deep dive, so I'm going to leave out a lot of key themes, but we're going to stick with the core theme. With a North Node in Leo, you have naturally a South Node in Aquarius. These are people who have a natural innate tendency and gift and talent from potentially past lives for detachment. These are the innovators of the world who naturally see the macro scale, the big picture, the humanitarian vision for the world, and they try to remain as detached as possible. These are people who are naturally intellectual in some area of their life and tend to be a bit reserved with their emotions. The North Node or South Node being in Aquarius naturally also gives this person a unique sense of individuality, because while they see the macro scale, while they are focused on the big picture, while they remain detached, they also do this from a state of mind of understanding their individuality. And so in an extreme, in the positive, these are the people who have unique creative abilities oftentimes and have a more philosophical outlook on some form of life or in some form of expression, because they have that Aquarian, innovative, but creative, individualistic tendency. In the negative, this South Node in Aquarius can express itself as someone who feels a sense of they are the black sheep of the world and they feel like they have no place. Yet, while their individuality can be their gift that helps them understand why they are here, more often than not, what I noticed with South Node in Aquarius is that these people feel like they are too different for the world. And so in a sense, their purpose in the world is to always be a loner. So the South Node in Aquarius gives a natural innate talent for detachment, innovation, and individuation, which can be a gift. Once again, the South Node is a gift and talent. But to counterbalance these qualities, the North Node in Leo emphasizes the value of being invested. And this is, I think, the true core theme of having a North Node in Leo. And in case I haven't already, I will put the dates over the screen for when you need to be born to have a North Node in Leo. You can always double check online by looking for your birth chart, pulling your birth chart, or by just searching for the North Node transit dates. There's also, I've seen many forums where you can just input your time or day of birth and it will tell you just specifically what your North Node is in. Because if you're on these cusp dates, your North Node might be instead in Cancer or, is that right? Or Virgo. Yeah. No. Point being, double check to make sure that your North Node is in Leo. Point being, the core theme of having a North Node in Leo is moving from detachment to passion. Aquarius and Leo both deal with the concept of what makes life good. And granted, this is something that all signs are embodying. But I think the Leo-Aquarius axis really does emphasize this in the sense of how invested in life should we be? Leo is all about being fully present, fully passionate, fully invested to the point that they are often center stage. Whereas Aquarius prefers to stay behind the scenes and put the light on everyone else. And they prefer to stay detached to life, this more objective, neutral view of life to find a sense of life enjoyment. With the North Node in Leo, in the end, as your highest path to growth, you're meant to counterbalance your traits of detachment by cultivating more passion in your way of being. This is almost like embracing that inner child of passion, joy, excitement, thrill, really leaning into those intense, positive emotions. So for the sake of keeping this video not extremely long, the simple key takeaway about having a North Node in Leo is leaning in heavily to those passionate, intense emotions, becoming more invested in your human experience by leaning into the positive emotions of confidence, courage, and joy. So those are the core themes. I wanted to recap those before we get into the tips, because understanding the core theme will help you understand how exactly these tips apply to you. And these are just as a general starting point, because sometimes trying to embrace our North Node journey is really, really complicated. And so these are just meant to be a starting point for those who feel like, I don't know how to start embracing this energy. I know the general themes, but what does that look like in my life? But part of how this plays out in your life is going to be dependent on the house your North Node in Leo is in. As I always say, there's not just a sign your North Node is in, there's also a house. And the house is where you need to embrace this energy the most. And it is vital in you actually fulfilling your soul's purpose as a North Node in Leo. So yes, you're supposed to focus on passion, joy, courage, leadership, and being invested in life in a joyful means. But where you're supposed to exactly do that is dependent on the house it's in. So it's very important to take the house into account to help apply these tips. These tips are going to be generalized to all North Nodes in Leo, or North Node in Leos, who, regardless of the house, but taking the house into account will help you understand which of these maybe tips applies most to you or how exactly you express this. So be sure to double check what house your North Node in Leo is in. So without further ado, let's dive into the 5 potential ways that you can start embracing your North Node in Leo. First and foremost, the most basic tip I would give to someone who has a North Node in Leo and they want a quick key takeaway on, okay, what does that mean for me? Pursue passion. Leo is the archetype of passion and desire. Oftentimes has a lot to do with creativity. And this ties to the South Node. This ties to the fact that the South Node is a gift still to embrace that is tied to your North Node, in the sense that Aquarius and Leo can both be very, very creative. So pursuing your passions is extremely important for you as a North Node in Leo to start cultivating that sense of being invested in your human experience from a place of joy. And the house that your North Node in Leo is in could help you know what or where to embrace these passions. Let's say your North Node in Leo is in 4th house. What passions do you have for your family? Or how can you share your passion in your family? How can you create a passionate existence in your family? If it's in your 10th house, what are your career passions? If it's in your 7th house, what are your passions that you can share in your relationships? This helps you understand where to embrace these. But overall, pursuing passion as a general concept, whether your passion is cooking or to start a business or to create a film, these are all really positive ways to start embracing your North Node in Leo, because in the end, the North Node in Leo is all about becoming passionate. So cultivating and pursuing passions, taking action towards passions, whether that's a small step or a big step, is extremely important, if not one of the biggest key takeaways I would give to a North Node in Leo. And I notice for so many who have this placement that there's oftentimes a rationality that keeps them from pursuing passion. Whether that's it's not going to be successful, or I just don't have the time, or a sense of apathy that what is the point anyway. Note that those inner dialogues are the unhealthy traits, so to say, of your South Node that are keeping you limited from allowing yourself to be invested. In the end, you're meant to pursue passion with detachment, and that is how your North Node and South Node complement each other. So pursue passion for the sake of passion without attachment to a result or how it's going to necessarily make you feel seen or change the world. Number 2, less of a linear tip, but I still feel is very applicable to any North Node in Leo, is to cultivate joy in others' lives by being a beacon of confidence. What does this look like? Naturally, as a South Node in Aquarius, there is a tendency towards apathy or detachment as your natural emotional set point. And depending on your moon sign, this in Mercury, this could be expressed subtly differently, as well as your rising. But overall, I do notice that for those who have a South Node in Aquarius, there's a natural urge to be as neutral as possible and reserve your emotions and reserve your expression in any interaction. But your North Node in Leo indicates that some of the most positive work you can do for both yourself and others is to share those positive emotions. So cultivating your positive emotions and practicing expressing them with confidence is extremely powerful for any North Node in Leo and one of the key steps to embodying your soul's purpose. So this could look like, for example, how I envision this playing out, starting your day with something that makes you feel really great, whether that's going for a run or meditating or listening to a podcast you love, and then being able to walk in your job with a joyful, radiant, confident smile and coming from a place of positivity, almost to an annoying degree, saying it is such a beautiful day today. So much of the North Node in Leo is about embracing almost this childlike joy. So sharing this childlike joy can really be valuable, not only for yourself, but for others. And I do want to note that to many South Node and Aquarians, this is going to sound like toxic positivity. Like I don't want to fake it till I make it, but to some degree, I think the biggest struggle of the South Node and Aquarius is a negativity bias. So try cultivating true positivity in your life and practice specifically expressing that. And again, the house that your North Node in Leo is in is where you will feel the strongest effects of sharing this positivity the most. So if it's in your 7th house, making sure that when you walk in the door to your spouse, having that radiant, confident positivity, doing what you need to be in that positivity with your partner. If it's in your, let's say, 10th house, again, making sure you show up in your job, in your career as that radiant positivity. If it's in your 11th house, showing up in your community and with your friend groups as that radiant positivity. Number 3 for embracing a North Node in Leo is to lead. It is often said the emphasis on the North Node in Leo or Leo energy in general is this childlike energy, but there's also still equally this leadership energy. And that is because Leo is supposed to represent leading from a place of love. So if you have a North Node in Leo, putting yourself in leadership roles can be very, very empowering and impactful for living your soul's purpose and accelerating your manifestations. Again, the house that your North Node in Leo is in can indicate where you can best be a leader. If it's in your 4th house, leading family. If it's in your 1st house, leading yourself in your own life. If it's in your 3rd house, leading in your daily network, being a networker. If it's in your 8th house, leading in your intimate relationships. Whatever house your North Node in Leo's in, that's where you can best be a leader. But regardless, all North Node in Leos can benefit heavily from becoming a leader. After all, it is your, so to say, mission to do so. I really feel like, and I doubt my brother's ever gonna watch this video, but he has a North Node in Leo, and was at one point very avid about becoming a filmmaker and being in the film industry. And I think actually the film world really does symbolically, metaphorically fit into the South Node Aquarius, North Node Leo journey, which is Leo is usually we say the words center stage, in the spotlight. They are the actors, the actresses, the performers, and the directors. They are the leaders and the ones in the limelight, the ones who are most seen. Aquarius is more like the producers that are working behind the scenes, or the film crew, or the mic guy. They want to make sure that they're doing the work behind the scenes, or the cinematographers to make sure that things are being executed from using their innovation and individualistic creative eye. And so point being, with leadership on this note, so much of the North Node in Leo's journey is learning to, accept that while you have this gift for maybe doing creative work behind the scenes, while you may be more comfortable behind the curtains, you actually have a gift that can put you in the spotlight and that is most impactful to the world by being in those center stage roles, whether that's literally being the actor, actress, performer, or the director. Taking the lead is what the universe wants you to do as a North Node in Leo. You guys are meant to be leaders from a place of joy and from a place of individuality. Again, the South Node journey ties into this. So take ownership, own yourself, own your talents, and be a leader in either small or big ways. This can be starting an event. This could be being the initiator in your friend group to say, let's hang out. This could be numerous things. Number 4, focus on fun. And I know this sounds very similar to tip number 1, which was to pursue passion, but there's a subtle difference here. Both revolve around the same North Node in Leo themes of finding that sense of lighthearted investment in life. But what I mean in differentiation here with tip number 4 is focus on things that are fun. They don't need to change the world always. They don't need to align with your individuality. What would just be fun for you? What is playful? What helps you take things with a grain of salt and just laugh it out, so to say? These people pursuing fun is extremely important for them. It's very impactful. It's part of your soul's purpose is to just allow yourself the space to have that fun. So pursuing fun is extremely helpful as a North Node in Leo for embodying your soul's purpose, which sounds oftentimes a bit counterintuitive because it's like, well, just going out and having a drink with the boys is going to be my purpose. Actually, in a way, yes, because this is how you get your soul to be most radiant. You complete your understanding of the universe by learning to just allow yourself to take things lightly. And some of your greatest wisdom will come through when you are allowing yourself this simplistic life enjoyment where you can let yourself let loose. So pursue fun. Make time for fun, whatever fun means to you. If it's not cracking open a cold one, maybe it's going for a run. Maybe it's going to a creative workshop. Maybe it's going to a comedy night. Whatever your idea of fun is, prioritize fun. And for many, as a North Node in Leo, fun could be potentially competition. But regardless, making time for fun is extremely important for a North Node in Leo to embody their North Node. And finally, the last tip I would give, a potential way to embody your North Node in Leo, is to be an extremist in your positive statements. And I'm saying that even in an extreme way because as a South Node in Aquarius, you want to be as neutral and objective as possible. You want to see how there's a million different sides of things, and you tend to be the kind of person, regardless potentially of your Mercury sign, to not want to be extreme in some form or fashion. You want to remain neutral emotionally and mentally and not take anything to too much of extremes. But in many ways, as Leo is a fire sign, there's this emphasis on the benefit of being an extremist at times, specifically in your positive statements. Again, this is about cultivating your passion, courage, confidence, and joy. As a North Node in Leo, that is your soul's work. But sometimes the best way to do that, or a potential good way to cultivate this, is by trying to be more positive in your outlook and in your words. This can be a simple way to start embracing that North Node in Leo. For example, again, to use both my family and my brother as a reference who has this placement. As a kid, he was going around all the time saying best day ever, like screaming at the top of his lungs, allegedly. And this is something my family has now all taken on to some degree. But now for my brother, that's a little bit harder to do because the natural South Node in Aquarius tendency is to be neutral and say, well, is it really the best day ever? What is a day? And what does the best really mean? I would say it was a fairly decent day by about 72%. And so being more extreme in your statements, allowing passion to flow through you is part of your North Node journey. So as a simple way to apply and start embodying your North Node Leo, try to go about your day with more positive, affirming statements, whether that's walking into your job and saying it's a beautiful day today and making people's eyes roll, or giving compliments, or saying have a good day, or saying to yourself, I love today, or this is an amazing meal. Try to be extreme a bit in your gratitude, in your positivity, to fuel that positivity, whether it's about something you do, something about today, affirmations to others, affirmations to yourself. Try to encourage this positive outlook, which I know, again, for so many South Node and Aquariuses, this is going to be like a giant barf, but it's part of your soul's work. And it's okay to give yourself that compassion, because this is quite possibly, as a North Node in Leo, the very hardest thing for your soul to do. This video has gotten long, but I do feel like there is some value here still to give for a North Node in Leo. To wrap up this video, I want to share some basically journal prompts / contemplations for the North Node in Leo, because while there is so much you can do to lead, to be bold, to be courageous, in the end, this is an internal understanding. Our North Node in the end is about understanding how the archetype fits into our life, understanding and embodying the archetype. And so I want to provide a few quick summary prompts to help a North Node in Leo understand, again, the root theme here. Like, the key question I would invite a North Node in Leo to ask themselves is, what does passion and joy mean to me? What does play mean to me? What are my biases or beliefs around passion and play? How do I feel that passion, play, and joy are naive? What if ignorance is bliss? How do I feel ignorance is bliss? Contemplating, in the end, your natural perception of these intense positive emotions of joy and courage and passion is very important for you, because you naturally feel as though this is something that is not valuable. But try to observe in the world around you how our world is fueled off of passion. It's fueled off of desire, and it's fueled off of joy. And the final, I think, prompt I would say with that is, how can my joy change the world? How do I see that joy changes the world? This will make understanding and embodying your North Node in Leo so much easier if you can truly see how people's joy, passion, and love for life, their lightheartedness, their ability to take things with a grain of salt and allow themselves to just be invested, is changing the world bit by bit. So North Node in Leos, let me know in the comments below, did this video help you understand how to start living in alignment with your soul's purpose as a North Node in Leo and South Node in Aquarius? Do you still have more question bubbles popping up in your brain rather than answers? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you want to dive deeper into how to embody your purpose and own your North Node in Leo so that you can live in alignment with your soul's purpose and manifest with ease, then book a reading down below. Again, 1 hour long. We dive deep into any and everything about your chart, your numerology, your Enneagram, Myers-Briggs, and more. Sky is the limit. We can cover any or everything. Learn more down below, and be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more videos breaking down the stars and more. Thank you guys so much for watching. Sincerely hope you enjoyed. Once again, my name is Isabelle, and from my heart to yours, namaste.